Hey guys, Adrian here for digitaldojos.com, and today we are talking about Apple's iPhone 5s and 5C event. I just want to go over an overview of what happened in the event, what was covered. Just recently happened. It was staged at Apple's Cupertino office, or headquarters, I should say. Literally, the event just got finished. I live streamed it, and I'm currently live streaming on my Google Plus Hangouts on Digital Dojos with Duncan, or mobile phone 2003. We both covered the event. This video is solely to go over the specs, everything that happened. I'll probably have an opinion piece out a little bit later on, but this is solely to cover the event itself. And I'll throw in a little bit of opinion towards the end, I guess. Anyhow, let's go ahead and talk about it. So first off, the big major announcements. They talked about iOS 7. They did a recap of iOS 7. They talked about the iTunes Festival, all the typical stuff they do in the beginning of an Apple event. Shortly following it after, they jumped strictly into the iPhone, and that of the iPhone 5C. So it was confirmed the iPhone 5C is Apple's kind of second device. It's one of the entry, I would say the entry iPhone, and it's a phone that's going to be phasing out. What they chose to do, which is interesting, they chose to completely phase out the iPhone 5. So if you're like myself and you own an iPhone 5 here, your phone is now an artifact. It's now solely a unique device because they're no longer going to be producing this. They're completely phasing it out. Typical Apple fashion, they take the older generation and they do a price cut on it. There is no more iPhone 5 that will be in production. The iPhone 5C will technically replace that. The C standing for that of color. It comes in multiple colors, as you can see here. They're going for that whole aspect of, they're finally offering some differential colors. And we saw this early as on with the iPod Touch 5th gen. People are a fan of this, despite what you think. People really do like that customization. And I think it really, obviously, it goes well with that of iOS 7. They tried to have it match that feel, as you can see here. It looks nice. It's made out of that polycarbonate material. And they release these cases, which, in my opinion, again, these are just new cases. I'm not a fan of them, but they do have them offered here. So you can get these little cases here. Overall, these are the iPhone 5C. Again, it comes in a really nice set of colors. A polycarbonate material, very similar to that of the original iPhone. This is the first gen iPhone, but similar to that of the 3GS and 3G. With that plastic material. Now these phones are gonna spec-wise come in just a little bit above the 4S. It's gonna have the Retina screen, and you can see the price here: 16 gigabytes for $99, 32 gigabytes for $200 plus contract, of course. So it is a bit of a cheaper phone. You have the A6 chip in here, and you can see all the traditional specs here: the Retina display, 8 megapixel camera, all of that good stuff, 1080p recording, and all your traditional buttons. Now on top of that, they released the new iPhone 5S. The predecessor to the 5, the newest model out there. The 5S, as you would expect, like everybody said, it's faster, it's better, and improves upon that of the 5's design, and it adds a couple of new things. So hardware-wise, there's a new dual LED flash, as you can see here. You can see in there, it has that dual LED flash with what they call a True Tone flash, I believe. Now, it also offers a new home button, is the new fingerprint scanner. So it's now your home button and what they call Touch ID. So essentially, you'll be able to take your phone and and you'll just be able to put your finger on your home button, and it'll enable you access to your phone. So it's a much more secure way. It's biometric security. This opens a lot of things for how you can get into iTunes, how you can, when you buy apps, instead of entering a password, you simply verify through Touch ID. And further on, when we see more implementations of mobile payment systems, all of that stuff, this is going to be integrated into that of the Touch ID. So again, that new Touch ID is that with the home button. You can see it's just a little bit of different design home button. The home button kind of breaks down into that of 4 little parts. That being the traditional home plastic button, the sensor, all of that stuff. So traditional pricing: 16 gigabyte for $200, or $200 for a 16 gigabyte model, $300 for the 32 gig model, and $400 for the 64 gig model. I believe it's ever so slightly thinner in comparison to the iPhone 5. Again, nothing super noticeable. I think it just has a tiny bit of dimension changes. The bigger changes of that being internally the A7 chip, which is now with 64-bit architecture. So that means it supports with iOS 7. A 64-bit architecture, similar to that what you see in operating systems, is now on the mobile phone in the A7 processor. This is the first phone with a 64-bit architecture, keep in mind. Now they also have an M7 Motion coprocessor. So basically this is taking the load off the CPU. It's its own sub-CPU that handles stuff like the gyroscope, accelerometer, etc. Everything that deals with kind of the motion of your device when you're tilting it, when you're moving it, when it's being shooken, stuff like that. All that now has a coprocessor that handles all of that data. What this also enables the phone to do is track various things on its own now. So It can track in terms of pedometer. It can know when you're walking. It can tell when you're running, when you're driving. It can tell all of those things based on motion because this new processor handles all of that on its own. So this opens up the doors for stuff like a pedometer on your phone. They're talking about Nike Plus, building an app called Nike Plus Move. So this opens all into that kind of Fitbit, Nike Plus technology integrated into this new chip. Additionally, it has an updated camera, 8 megapixels. It has now a f2.2 aperture, so better in terms of quality. Has that true tone flash, hybrid IR filter, 5-element lens, so improvement there. Burst mode in terms of photos, so you can get really nice shots with high-speed action. And all your other traditional stuff. Though when it comes to video, it can now handle 1080p HD recording video with a new slow motion video feature. This means 120 FPS per second. That's for really awesome slow motion footage. You can now capture all of that on the iPhone 5S via video recording. As of now, I think it's solely for the iPhone 5S. It isn't really confirmed if this is going to be available for the 5 with iOS 7. Again, it's a slow motion video, and it's a really cool feature, and it just, it's integrating into that of the traditional camera app. Other than that, everything else is pretty much standard. You have your standard buttons, your volume, mute, ring silent, all of that traditional design. It comes in a new gold color, as was mentioned and very much rumored and leaked. So the new iPhone 5S is going to come in this new kind of gold or champagne-like material, which is, a nice little new addition. It does have a new little accent, and it goes in there with the space gray, as they're calling it now, and the silver. Other than that, iWork is also announced. iWork, the suite of apps, iPhoto, iMovie, Keynote, Pages, and Numbers are now all free for Apple. So when you get a new Apple device, these are all the traditional apps you get now. iTunes Festival, iMovie, iPhoto, Keynote, Pages, Numbers, and that's a nice traditional suite of apps that helps you for Keynotes or PowerPoint, if you want to do that sort of stuff, a Word document, and Excel spreadsheets. That all comes free on a new iOS device. And of course, all of these new devices are going to be preloaded with iOS 7. So those are all the changes, guys. Those are the main changes. It was all strictly iPhone stuff. iPhone 5S, the new key model, the newest and fastest modern iPhone, and 5C, which is going to be kind of the new standard iPhone, just the additional iPhone that you can get if you're upgrading for the 4S and you just want to upgrade to a standard device. Again, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it is just a device for that of the developing countries as well, markets like China, etc. It's going to open up Apple into different markets. So they're actually selling 2 phones, and this is the first time Apple has really sold 2 phones at once. New phones, so the 5S and the 5C. What are your guys' thoughts? Love to hear what you guys think below. I'll probably do a whole separate video regarding that. Love to hear your feedback. Thanks for watching. As usual, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and head over to digitaldojos.com.